Hello everyone, we're back again for week 5 of your online learning, and just a big massive well done from me. You're all doing amazing, and I hope that the revision week that we did just there was beneficial to you and you were able to catch up on some of the work that we've done online so far. But now we're going to push on. We're going to start looking at Unit 3 of the National 5 course, which is called Life on Earth. You'll see on this slide, the section highlighted is section 4, ecosystem and biodiversity terms. That's the thing we're going to start off with because it's nice and easy to ease you into the unit, and it's just an introduction to some of the new terminology that you're going to be learning about. So today's learning intention is for you to understand the key terms concerning ecosystems and biodiversity. If you're to go online to the SQA and look at the course specification document, the first one that you'll come across for Life on Earth is a big spiel about how many new words that you're going to learn and all the definitions you need to know. So we're going to chunk that down and we're going to cover half of them today. Okay, so the first term that we're going to look at is an ecosystem. An ecosystem is an area which is made up of living and non-living parts. So for example, if you picture a big open field that has some animals in it grazing, so for example cows, there's some daisies and buttercups growing in the field alongside the grass. If you are to describe that as an ecosystem, the living parts would be those flowers that are growing in the grass and the cows that are grazing there, but you have to take into account the non-living parts as well. So for example, the temperature of the surrounding area, or the availability of light in the area, or the pH of the soil, for example. An ecosystem is the area that's made up of all of that. It's a description of all of that. So I just described a grassland ecosystem. Next one you've got is a habitat. The habitat are where those plants and animals live. So for example, the birds live in a nest. So the bird's habitat is their nest. The fish live in the ocean. And monkeys live in a tree. So their habitat is the tree. The community is all of those living organisms together, so all of the plants and the animals. So in that grassland ecosystem I described earlier, the community there are the cows and the buttercups and the daisies. A population, on the other hand, is the number of one species that lives in an area. So if you're looking at the picture of the Lion King, then the population of lions, one species. Population of hyenas, one species. So, me saying to you the population of one species, a population is one species, what actually is a species anyway? So, a species is a group of related organisms that can interbreed to produce fertile offspring. That's the important bit. The offspring must be fertile for it to be classed as a species. So, for example, a horse mates with another horse to produce a young horse. Or a donkey mates with another donkey to produce a young donkey. Now, horses and donkeys we know are very closely related. They look similar, but they're different species, because if a donkey mates with a horse, then they produce a mule. A mule is infertile. It can't mate to produce its own offspring. So that's how we know horses and donkeys are different species. Okay, so filling in the table then. I'll give you a couple of minutes to fill in the terms by yourself. You don't need to fill in the example. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. Okay, so you should have had where an organism lives is its habitat. An example that you can fill in is a pond. One particular species is the population. For example, humans. All of the organisms in the one area is the community. So rainforest community. And an ecosystem is the living and non-living parts of an area. For example, the city. So biodiversity then. is the variety and relative abundance of all living organisms. So abundance just means number. Okay. Biodiversity within a population is really important. Variation within a population makes it environmental conditions. So what we mean by that is variety within a particular species means that if the environment changes, then that species has the ability to adapt to it. So for example, if you've heard of the finches on the Galapagos Islands, you know that they're all finches, so they're a particular species, but on each of those islands the food sources are different, which means the birds have had to adapt to the environment and their beak shapes are all different because they eat different foods. That's covered more near the end of the Life on Earth unit, but that was just a wee example to help you understand why biodiversity is important. We need a population to be able to adapt over time, because then that population and that species will continue on and will continue to survive. So further instructions, as always, is go on and have a look at the team's assignment page and complete the worksheet. You can, as always, fill it in and return it to me via Teams or directly to email. You can use page 14 of the Life on Earth revision notes to help you with the task. Because it's Life on Earth revision notes, you've never come up with them before, so they're on the assignment page too. And to consolidate your knowledge further, I've added the link to the BBC Bite Size page to help you through it as well. As always, if you need any help with anything, please don't hesitate to contact myself or one of the other biology teachers. It's our job, you know what we're here for, and we're more than happy to help you out if you need it.